would like to introduce today's workshop leader, Farith Odar, who will walk you through the many ways you can implement photos, diagrams, and graphics into your sales process to create beautiful digital proposals. Farith has over 10 years of experience in the residential contracting industry in both sales and marketing manager roles. Here at LEAP, Farith oversees his team through all stages of the sales process, from lead conversion to implementation, execution, and adoption of the LEAP platform. In his spare time, he enjoys exploring the city and heading to the park with his dog, Lennon. Farith, welcome. The stage is all yours.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate that. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. And passing over the presenter baton to you.
Awesome.
There we go.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you. Thanks for the intro. I actually wanted to drill a little deeper into that introduction. I do want to thank everybody that is taking the time today to listen to, I guess, my perspective on this subject. But I want to give you a little bit of background here, so you guys get an idea of where all this knowledge is coming from. And again, there's opinions about this subject. I talked to a number of home improvement companies that have a pretty good presentation deck, pretty beautiful contracts, very detailed. And I also talk to companies that are literally putting a price together and on a piece of paper, or just texting it or emailing it. So I see it from all angles. But I wanted to first to tell you where I actually come from and how this is, how this webinar is going to either inform you of something that you don't know, or how it's going to just make it better for you, right? So like Liz mentioned, I have 10 years of home improvement experience. I started very young as a canvasser. I knocked on doors for many years for a company here in the Baltimore area. And then I went from canvasser to a salesperson in-home, doing the typical in-home sales process, very systematic and put together. And then I went into managing a team of sales reps, and now we're here at LEAP. The reason why I wanted to give you that whole journey there is so that you really get an idea of why we find so much value in what we're going to present today. We not only find value because we were the end user, we were the salespeople that were in front of the customer at the kitchen table, going through all these processes, but also what that meant for the company, what that meant for management, what that meant for the business owner, and how it's going to generate revenue, how it's going to move the needle for you guys. It's not just about pretty proposals or a nice logo or things like that. How are all of these features are going to take your process from where it is now, not only make it better and level it up, but also make your business more profitable and turn your salespeople into selling machines. All right, so the first thing that I really want to cover is perception. We all, I don't think there's a single person that is watching this webinar today that doesn't want to be perceived as successful, professional, top-notch, top of the line, and all the other superlatives that you can think of. But what are we doing as a company to not only be perceived as such, but also offer that value, right? How can we do it so that the perception of your company matches the reality of your company? You may have a very nice website, but then you're giving out paper contracts, so that perception kind of drops, right? I call you because it looked great on the website. You have all those different credentials, but then when you get to the house, you're not showing me any of that. Or the contract you're giving me, it was sent via email, and it's not even a nice PDF. It's just a typed down email. So all of those things matter, right? Especially in a market that is used to pretty much doing a lot of research now before they even meet you, right? And you're gonna have several other companies coming out and just trying to outdo you. So what are you doing today to make sure that the perception matches the reality? And if you have implemented something like that, what are you doing to actually get your reps to adopt it? That's a whole different conversation. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to set yourself up for success, make sure that you have the right mechanism so that your reps can go out there and use the things that you're putting in place. And then I'm going to show you my how I will do it, right? How we at Leap presented what the capabilities are, real features that you can use to make it so that it's easier for your reps to be able to put all these proposals and contracts together while they're in the home. Before we get into that, I'm going to go through this PowerPoint here so that I can give you a little of a preview of what we're going to be talking about here today. So the first thing is build your value to homeowners through your pitch. One thing that I want you guys to think about: we can't assume that the customer already knows us. What they have done, the research they have done, is limited to what they were able to put us time aside for, right? If they have 3 estimates, do they actually go through every single review or every single before and after picture, or did they go through your website? Did they actually do the research? We can't assume just because you put it out there on a website that they actually went through that. As a company, it is your job, it is your responsibility to display all of that when you're being interviewed to earn the business. No different than if you're interviewing a salesperson or a new employee. You might have gotten a chance to take a look at the resume, but you can't just believe what's on the resume. You have to have a conversation with them, and you want to see how they can tell you about their history, about their experience, and any other things that they find valuable, so that then you can hire them. Same exact process here. So if you and there's many ways you may be doing this today. You probably have a PowerPoint that you have built out, and you have given it out to your reps, so your reps can actually use it in the field. You may have brochures or before and after pictures that you have either printed out on a nice binder, or you probably have it on a laptop. You may use your website. You may just go to your website. You may use your phone. I hear that a lot. People just going out there and say, no, I just carry a couple of brochures and then I just pull up some reviews on my phone. That's great, but how is that actually being received by the customer, right? If you don't make that process an important part of your presentation, the customer is not going to care, or may not even listen to it. And when you have given all of that, are you sharing that, right? The 5 minutes that it took you to show those things and your history. Comes time to make a decision there. So there's many reasons here why you need to have some sort of pitch, some sort of story. Here at Leap, we have the ability that you can upload all of those things into a single platform. Right now, most of you have it in different places, unless you're using a system like Leap. And even if you did have it nice and organized on like a Dropbox or something like that, how are you making sure that your reps are using it in the field? Is it conducive to their sales process? All those questions are things that you should be asking yourself, right? If your reps are not using that, it's not because they don't see value in it. It's because it just becomes a burden to actually use that. You know how easy it is for them just to open it up and go right through it. If you're taking time training people to use these things because you have found value in putting a pitch book together, you should put the same effort into having it so easy to be accessed so that they can actually use it every single time, 100% of the time. So with Leap, for those who are using Leap today, our resources section, it has the ability to upload PDFs, has the ability to upload EPUB files, as well as PowerPoints, has the ability to upload MP4s. So if you have a video I have a customer that has videos of how to, so they like to show throughout their presentation how to remove a roof, and they have a quick video of a removal process. What not to do, right? So and they educate the customer throughout the entire process. They have those videos uploaded. I have also customers that have uploaded training resources for their sales reps that may not be customer facing, but they're things that they can always pull up during on their downtime to just learn about the trade, especially if your reps are new. Whether you're small or big, it doesn't matter. Everybody has a value proposition, and you have to be able to speak to that.
Next one.
Nice. Going to interrupt real quick. Farith, we're having a little bit of an issue with your audio, so I would recommend, can we double check that your microphone's picking up okay? It's getting a little crackly on our end.
Can you hear me?
It's a little faint.
All right. Let's see.
Sorry, folks. Thanks for hanging with us. Okay.
How's it now?
Sounds
Better?
okay. Yep, sounds a little bit better. Alrighty,
Okay.
continue. Thank you.
Nope, no problem, no problem. All right, great. So now we're going to talk about how to present satellite measurement. That's another feature of Leap. This is like the one of the questions that every time we get to this section here, and for those who are using Leap currently, you know that you can build out price guides. So you have your roofing price guides, your siding price guides, and you can have all the different items that you will typically account for to then put a quote together. Satellite measurements like Eagle View and Hover are currently being utilized. I will say the majority of companies that are using it are misutilizing this feature, and it's something that it should be on the front end of the process as opposed to the production process. And I strongly feel that it should be 100% of the time. And that's obviously an argument to be made from a financial standpoint. I'll be happy to have a conversation with those who have been kind of like thinking about how I can bring this process to the front end. But the value that satellite measurements bring to the table, outside of just being able to measure a house that is difficult to measure or being able to deliver remotely, all those things are great. But if you were to bring that into your sales process, just think about the value that you're gaining, the perception that you're gaining because of the experience, right? We are in a world where people trust technology more than humans. It's crazy to say, but back in the day, you can get up on a roof, measure up the roof, and you're showing the customer that you're being so detailed, right? And that was the perception back then. They truly believe that if someone gets up on the roof, you're gonna get the finest measurements. Well, now it's a little bit different, right? Now people don't really believe in that. Now they feel like the more human interaction during these processes, the more risk of error, chances of getting the a price that is higher or lower, whatever the case is. So when you have the satellite measurements where you can show up with a report, so that when you put a price together, you can take the customer line item by line item, showing them exactly what it is that you're accounting for and how you got those quantities. And then the next person comes back around and it's just eyeballing the roof. There's a huge difference. Not only that, but now you can take that, and when you close a deal, it's ready to go. You can create work orders. You can create any type of production documents that are going to be for final commissions or final ordering or whatever the case is, and it's already there. You don't have to pay somebody else to go back out and remeasure the roof just for the sake of making sure that your sales rep did the right measurements. You and I know you're going to find different measurements there. That applies to also siding. That applies to windows too. And also from a presentation standpoint, as you guys know, Eagle View and Hover also offer a 3D model, and Hover is has that for a long time. You can bring that now to the kitchen table. Home improvements is one of those purchases that it takes a lot of trust from a consumer standpoint to really move forward with, right? I don't get to walk away with anything when I purchase something. I just spend $10,000 or $25,000 or even $50,000 on a large siding project if I'm a consumer, and I'm not gaining anything until probably 2 months later, right? But I already gave you a third down. So how can I bridge that gap between that feeling of like, oh man, did I make the right call? And like, yes, 100%, I trust this company is gonna do it properly. I have a picture of my house, how it's gonna what it's gonna look like. I know what's gonna be delivered. I know line item by line item what it is that I'm paying for. Yes, I might have paid a little extra here, but the reason why I did that is because I know exactly what it is that I'm paying for, and I'm okay with that. And there's value built into each one of those sections. So in Leap, you have the ability to do all of that without taking days or even weeks to put that together. I can have that ready right then and there in minutes in front of the customer, so that when I finish my estimate and I deliver it to the customer, I finish my job. I'm putting my best foot forward to earn the business. Next, button there. Presenting your proposal. This is I have so many conversations and back and forth with customers that have been doing this for a long time. I don't think there's a single customer out there who's taking their job seriously, whose career consists of the success of their company, that doesn't want to present a beautiful proposal. Whether you are one of those companies that likes to one call close, so you just show one page, right? Whether you're that company, that one page, you put a ton of value into it. There's a lot of knowledge that that was needed to put that entire sheet together. Whether you're doing payments or you're doing itemized presentation of what is being estimated, or whether you're doing a model home program with some kind of discounts. I mean, there's so much knowledge that goes there, and you want that page to be unique. You don't want it to look like anybody else's out there, right? You have a story behind it, right? Or maybe you're the type of company that wants to have a 25-page, 50-page proposal with every single line item that is being utilized, with the warranty, with the description of that, with what to do's and not to do's, expectations, deliverables, dates, etc. I mean, there's two different types of companies out there, but regardless of what kind of company you are, you want to look professional, you want to be able to present it as quick as possible, and you want that thing to be unique to you, right? But the question mark is, okay, well, then how much time am I going to spend on doing this? How am I going to do that? A lot of times I have companies that they wish they can do so many things because they believe that's the best way to do it, but they just don't do it because they don't have the methods to, or they don't have the ability to put it together in a way that it can be utilized by the entire sales force. So I'm going to show you today live how I'm going to be able to put all of this together, how I'm going to be able to have free-form drawings on a contract. So again, the customer knows that you took the time to put this together. I'm going to show you how to draw specific parts of your project with like arrows or question marks or text or numbers, right? Most importantly, things that the customer can now understand. You may be doing these things today, but is that customer facing? A lot of times the answer is no, because a lot of these things are being done at the office. You just go and you just collect a little bit of data, and then you're putting everything together in the office. The customer's not there seeing you going through that. Or how long does that take you? Like, what is your first visit to price time frame, right? And if that is more than 3 days, you know somebody's coming behind you and giving somebody an estimate that would have bought from you but didn't, because you never gave the chance to buy from you. You were never able to put your hat in the ring because you just didn't have something to give them. So I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you can have all those beautiful proposals, whether it's a 1-page or a 50-page, done in seconds. Not only done in seconds, deliver in seconds, so that you guys have the ability to close a deal in one call if you want to, or whenever, but you'll have the ability to give them the price in the best way, the most professional way possible in the first visit. And then next, how visuals can continue to add value all the way through production. This is a big one, all right? And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. When we built Leap, we did not build it for production purposes. We just did. We were salespeople that wanted to build a platform that was very conducive to our sales process. The biggest reason why we built Leap is because we were one-call closing customers. In order for us to do that, we needed to be detailed, but yet we needed to be fast. And we also needed to be very nice and professional, but we also needed to have everything ready right there for us. So we didn't want to have to calculate siding and windows and roofing all in the matter of 3 hours. And then I'm pretty much staying there the entire day with the customer, because now I have to close a deal. So for us, the value was, how can I make this as quick as possible, detailed as possible, and yet allow me to be able to close a deal in one visit. What we didn't realize is that when we're building this platform, because we made it so that it was so customizable that it can collect any level of data, any level of detail, we now were basically prepping our production process to be even shorter, because now there's less checking for errors happening. The checks and balances that we used to have before Leap were huge. We're turning in a contract. My office manager is looking at the contract, checking for things. I mean, they literally had a step-by-step process to make sure the sales rep did the right thing, right? And that's whenever they got the data. What if it took me a day or two to return my contract? And when that went through that, then it will go through a measuring tape. The measuring tape will go right back out, remeasure the house, remeasure the windows, remeasure the siding to make sure that I didn't miss anything or I didn't mess up anything. And then they will basically cross-reference what I turned in to what they came up with. And then from that point on, you create a production packet, and then you go through the entire process. And even after all of that, there were still mistakes. We didn't know what color it was. There was a combination error where I was selling grids on a window that didn't come with grids. I was selling a roofing, a color shingle that didn't come for that particular style that I picked, or I didn't price for that. I mean, so many things that just fell through the cracks. So the reason why I'm saying that is because now that you have the ability to make this so automated on the front end of things, you start eliminating all the bottlenecks that you have at the production level, where it's actually originated, which is the sales process. I talk to a lot of companies, a lot of business owners that tell me I have all these issues at production level. And then when we actually have a conversation, then we really come down to, we're like, well, all of your problems of production are not happening at production. They're being caught at production. And now they become production errors. But in reality, if those would have been fixed during the sales process, which is the initial data entry, you don't have those problems. So we don't have to solve for that. We have to solve here. And once we have the solution here and that is fully adopted, you're going to find that your production process is going to be a lot smoother. Now, you may unveil other issues that come with, what else will be out there. But the thing is, now you're working towards a long-term solution, not a short-term solution, which is sometimes we get so caught up in that, right? So when we talk about beautiful proposals and detailed contracts, easy to understand contracts, line items on contracts, specifics, and all that, that's what we're really talking about, right? Production now has it so much easier to understand and digest that you can eliminate processes and SOPs that you might have already implemented that were simply implemented to avoid an error that happens anyways. So we're going to let our tool or beautiful sales tool to not only be customer facing, so we have a nice product that we put out there, but now internally you're solving so many problems that are actually costing you a ton. And next, let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. All right, so let me go ahead and change my screen. And guys, go ahead and type questions as I go through this. I'll get to them later, but make sure that you do that as I'm doing this so you don't forget. All right, so that's my iPad. For the sake of time, I actually went ahead and added already a customer that is integrated already with my CRM, and that's not what this webinar is for, but we have a direct integration with the top CRMs in the industry. So that's where that appointment came from. I also added a roofing quote, I added a window quote, and I also added a bathroom quote. And the reason why I have 3 different products, I want to show you 3 different types of proposals or contracts, so you see the variety of things that you can do. The point of Leap is not to change the way you do business unless it's for the better, but it's to take your current successful process and convert it and transform it into the next thing, into your sales process 2.0, I guess, if you want to say that. So I'm going to follow the same structure as our slides earlier. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is a resources section. So like I mentioned earlier, your company history, what you're going to do, how are you going to be able to not only have it organized for operation purposes, but how it's going to look like. So every single account that you guys have with Leap, and you can separate this into individual accounts per vertical or even per office. If you guys are larger, you probably have different states in which you operate with. So you want to make sure you have different templates that match the state or resources section can operate in that way. But like I was telling you, you have the ability to upload PDFs. So if you have a whole deck with before and after pictures, now your reps will be fully capable of simply accessing this right from their sales platform. I know earlier I mentioned adoption. The number one reason why reps don't adopt the things that you give them, guys, is because you give them too many things. You're solving for issues, but you're not solving it as a whole. So if you want to digitize your presentation and you used to do hard copy binders, that's great. You went to a PowerPoint, now you have it on a Dropbox, that's fantastic. You went digital. But now your rep is like, why am I going to go through my laptop to then log into Dropbox to download that file? Why would I do all of that when I can just reach in my briefcase, take my thing out, and just show the customer? From a sales rep standpoint, it doesn't make sense. Sure, it's cool, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick with this because this works. I've been doing it for so many years this way. It's good, right? So by having it into a single place where they can literally go from estimate, I can go from estimate to resource. Just like that, you're allowing them to be able to navigate through the entire menu without having to go into any other window or software or anything else. You're bringing it all together. So now the usage is going to increase, the adoption is going to increase. Oh, and by the way, you can also track it. As a business owner, you can go into the back end of your system and track if your reps are actually looking at the presentation, how many minutes they were looking at the first page or the second page or the third page or whatever it is that you find a lot of value in. We used to have a page called cost versus value that we were instructed and trained to always go over before we show pricing, right? Which makes sense, right? The reps that had it down as a second nature, they will always do that because I never want to show pricing without price condition. That makes sense. However, when you have new reps, they may not understand that concept. Or even when you have a veteran rep that already feels like they can close with talent, they don't do that. But for you, it's important that they do that. So then you can go in there and you can see. So now your one-on-ones with your reps are more meaningful because you have data to back up your theory. You can also upload links to websites. So if you do have internet connection out there and you may have some videos, like I was telling you, like videos of how how to remove shingles from a roof, how to properly install drip edge, starter strip, ridge vents, whatever those things are. You can find videos pretty much all over the web. You can make your own and you just play them. So now it's more interactive. When I'm educating my customer on why I'm using these products, I can just hit a video on, and then while they're looking at it, I can go ahead and just talk about it, right? You're building value into every single piece of material you're using anyway. So if you're going to use it anyways, and they're going to pay for it anyway, you might as well build value. Not only that, but also you have the ability to organize things into different folders. Like if I go into my roofing section, I have all the shingles that I offer here. So it's easy for me to navigate through those. Most importantly, I will never run out of them, right? And that's something that most people don't think about. Most of your reps, if you look at their trucks or vehicles, you're gonna find that they have nothing but boxes of brochures. Some things are current, some things are not. And when they're out there and you're running a ton of appointments, you sometimes run out of them, right? You may not have a sample for that, and the customer is asking you, "Hey, I want to go ahead and go with this color, but I would like to look at it." And then the rep forgot to go back to the office and get more brochures, and they have to drive back later and drop it off. I've seen that 1,000 times, right? Reps just going back to the house just to drop off a sample of something. Now you can have things literally there that are never going to go away. You're never going to run out of them, and you can share them. At the end of the process, you can go ahead and just press a button, attach this to your contract or proposal, and now your customer has absolutely everything they need to not only remember what they bought, but most importantly, to make a decision if they're going to buy from you later. The next thing that I'm going to show you guys is how to, what our measuring views look like. I was telling you about hover and eagle view and roof, and roof scope and how you want to bring that into the sales process, right? So if I'm in the roofing section here, that. Don't memorize my password.
Sorry, folks. We'll be up and running here in a sec.
There you go.
Very high security measures here at Leap.
Let me go back into the resources. Let me go back. There we go. Okay. So if I'm looking at my roofing here, and again, we're not here to change your current processes. We have, as you can see, we have a ton of experience in the industry, so we're happy to suggest what we see successful companies using. We never tell you exactly what company using what or share secret sauces, but we do have a wide variety of different versions of how things can and could be done. So we obviously give you a lot of advice throughout your process. So the company that I used to work for, which is here in Baltimore, one of the biggest things that we did differently than the rest of the companies that we're competing against was to itemize everything we're seeing. And the reason why we wanted to itemize it all and make it so the customer knows exactly what they're getting is because we always position our offerings as systems. So we never wanted to just give you an estimate on a roof, right? Customer doesn't know what that means. They're probably purchasing this the first time ever, and that's probably the only time they're gonna purchase a roof. So I don't want to go in there and just put myself right next to the guy that spent 10 minutes with him just writing up a price and sticking it in the mailbox. I wanted to be able to show the customer value. So I wanted to be able to break it up and show the customer every single piece of material that I'm going to use and the options that they had. And I wanted to give them a couple different options. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because when they wanted to hit me with 3 estimates or multiple options, I had them. I will literally give them 3 estimates. So I will give them the low, the medium, and the high, and then we can have a discussion. But when you educate a customer, I want you to understand this. When you give the customer the opportunity to learn and make a decision based on what they just learned, they feel empowered to do so. Right? It's not you telling them what they should purchase. You put all the options out there. You give them the option to make an opinion, and then they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it because they do that every single time they purchase something. So you want to make this entire experience as normal as possible because this is already a foreign purchase for them. So what we always have actually are templates here at Leap. If you were to come on board and you wanted to just use what you're seeing, we have templates already built out in this way. So I also wanted to do that because if you notice all the reports from Hover and Eagle View, they itemize it all. Ultimately, you guys are using that to create work orders. Your work orders are never bundled together. You're not calling your supplier and buying 26 squares of roofing. They're gonna tell you, no, you gotta tell me everything. You want shingles, you want underlayment, and how much of it do you want? So if I can kill 2 birds with one stone, right? I itemize everything here, very simple. My rep doesn't have to spend any more time that they already did today. And then if I close this deal, it's already nice and ready for my production person to build their work orders. Then we're in business, right?
We have a comment from one of our viewers saying it probably helps with errors, communication errors with customers, finding that including photos itemized helps be an extra level of that cross-referencing. So excellent point.
If and that's a beautiful point, and I don't know if I would have made it honestly, but it's something that we actually mentioned. I might have. There's so many things to cover today, but no, that's an excellent point. One thing that I want you guys to understand, like if you weren't in the industry, things like underlayment, starter strip, hip and ridge, grids, double hung, picture windows, all of those terms that for us is just normal talk. The customer doesn't know that. They're not there. So when you give them a contract that simply says we'll replace your roof Because trust me, there's companies that are doing that and you're not breaking it up. And then somebody else comes after you and they itemize it for you and the customer's sitting there like, I don't even know what I'm buying, right? You can't just have that. You can't just put that on the customer and have them now do their own research while you're not present. So if you were to actually lead by example and do this and feel comfortable that what you're offering is top notch, and most of you guys are preferred contractor, master lead, etc., you got to be able to, walk the walk and show them something that is itemized. So yeah, that's a beautiful point. Not to mention that you can also carry over the pictures into a proposal or contract if you wanted to. Anyway, so now I have everything broken out. My integration with and I'm actually going to close this out. I'm going to clear it, and I'm going to show you guys. It's super simple. So I already bought the report for EagleView. So I'm just going to go in and simply just hit search, and I can type in the address too. It's going to pull up the report. Today, if you guys are using EagleView, you literally have to give your reps a copy of the EagleView report, or give them access to your EagleView account, or purchase them a license so they can look at the reports. All of that just sounds super inconvenient. All I have to do now is order the report, give the lead to my sales rep, and my rep will be trained to know that their report will be sitting there for them. All they have to do is just select the address and automatically feed your entire breakdown. In fact, this is less time than if I were to measure the house and just price on a per square basis. Now that I have that, I can hit done, and my price is already calculated for me. That in itself, guys, is a better price presentation technique than most of what's happening out there in the industry. Not only that, if I want to be able to give them several options, I can simply just swipe and my price is updated automatically. Again, another way to just quickly show somebody a price if you wanted to, and it's nice and broken out for them. Now, what if I want to take that and put it into a nice proposal, right? You may be wondering, well, okay, so can I put that in a good, better, best, but I want to have a cover page, and I want to have the name of my rep on it. Right now, I'm using Word and PDFs. So I don't do it in the house because that is just not conducive to my sales process, because I got to go and run to the next house. So what I do is I collect my measurements, maybe order my EagleView, meet the customer, maybe go through my pitch book, give them some before and afters, and then I walk away. I walk away from a customer that could potentially buy from me in the first visit. Could. I'm not saying you have to push for it, but if someone is ready to go, I'm sure you'll take their money. So you physically take yourself out of the sales process. They're ready to go, right? You go back to the office. Then you sit down at your desk the following day probably, and then you put it together on Word, and you type it up, and you have everything, and maybe you have templates. And then you go ahead and just email it to the customer. I know that's the old-fashioned way to do it, guys. I'm not knocking on that. And if you're doing that and you're closing deals, great. I can tell you what, you're going to close more if you do it the way that I'm going to show you. Promise you that. And you don't have to invest more in marketing. I'm not asking you to run more leads. With the same budget that you use today, you're going to be able to put yourself in a better position to close more deals, period. That organically will increase your number of sales. It's logic, right? So here we go. We're going to go right into the proposal section. I already have a template, and I have already created different verbiage for everything that I want to ever put on a proposal. Some of these things may not apply. Maybe this is not a full warranty, so I'm going to turn this off. So what this is doing is going to take that paragraph out of my template. Well, if I want it, I just turn it on. Everything is already there, cleaned up, spell it out correctly in plain English. I can even put a picture of the customer's house right here. So I can go right outside, take a picture of that. It'll be sitting in my camera roll, and I can bring that picture in. Maybe I'm using hover or something like that. Let's just take this picture. Maybe that is my picture. I can expand it. Now this is going to be my cover page. Simple as that. I'm going to hit done. Now I have it all broken out. I have my good pricing, I have my better pricing, and I have my best price. I have no discounts yet. Hit next. Boom. Proposal done. All of the proposals that I'm going to show you are fully customizable. So you can make this a lot prettier. I just literally put this together a couple days ago just to have something to show here today, right? Everything will come over the place that it needs to be. The picture is there. Your logo will be there. I can go to my next page. I have a nice intro. And it looks like you did it on Word, right? I can go next. I have my best pricing, itemized, broken out. I can even add a financing payment on there that, as you notice, I didn't even have to calculate. The system did it for me based on my financing options. Better, basic, and a warranty. Now, this is a simple thing that I just put together a couple days ago. I have customers that with this same technology have a 25-page, a 50-page with a little bit of marketing in it, some coupons. You know, maybe you're part of the top 500 to the QR, and you want to put your nice logo in there that you are that big of a company, and you create this package. Also, guys, this is a PDF. Now I turn this into a PDF. If I want to send it to the customer, I just hit the button here on the very top. It says send. I can attach any other brochures to it. So I'm going to attach my Certainty shingle color selection, hit send again, verify the email address, hit send. I don't have to push the customer to purchase from me, but I'm giving the customer the autonomy to make that decision whenever they want to. And if that happens to be that same day, you have a bid, you have a deal done. If you're waiting a couple days to generate these proposals because you're just trying to get this professional, nice, beautiful thing done, I can tell you right now, you don't have to do it in several days. You can do it in seconds, just like I did now. As you guys can see, I'm very passionate about it because we're living in an era that calls for this type of features. People are in need of products; they don't have time to wait. So that's like a big type of proposal. Now I'm going to show you how to add some of those things like graphs and things like that. I know we're actually getting close to it, Liz, so I'm going to kind of speed through this. But in this particular case, I have a roofing contract. My roofing contract is already pretty much filled out, but I have something called a sketchpad. In the sketchpad, I can either have, and I'm going to show you a couple different options, right? I can just have a free form type of thing where I can just go in there and draw whatever I want in, right? That was the first iteration sketchpad that we ever had. And trust me, that was even next level compared to what most people are doing out there. Now I'm going to show you, more, a more clear picture of that and actually a little more professional in detail. I can actually draw on top of a little bit of grid, and I can make those bigger and smaller. I can also have straight lines. If I want to draw a house, I can go ahead and just do that. Maybe I'm going to add a garage right here. And that's so that's it. Maybe I want to put some measurements in there, right? So I can go right into my text and I can put a number on there. So they say it's 25. All right, and the 25, I'm going to put it right here. Now, most of you folks that I demoed, you guys want the reps to come back with measurements, right? Or some sort of idea of how they came up with pricing. Let's just do, most of them have it, but most of you guys can't even understand what they put down on the thing because they're in the heat of the moment, they're out there trying just to write something down. So that kind of becomes a little bit kind of productive. Now you can have the ability to just create easy to understand graphs that can be used for internal purposes as well as customer facing, right? So that now you can have that and you can send this right to your production, back to the office, however it is, it's returned in real time back to the office. Not only that, I can also have pictures. As you can see, all my pictures from Hover or automatically came over onto my contract. I can also have templates where not only the itemized description of the project is showing, but I can also have like a stock picture as my background for my sketchpad. So a lot of our bathroom, like one-day bathrooms, like Rebath and Bath Planet, all those all those folks, they have like the in-home sales process, pretty similar to the majority of roofing and window companies. Most of them are one call close, but most of them also they take the measurements from the sales reps, but they don't necessarily order from that, right? They still have somebody else that comes after that and remeasures things. And they have something similar to this, where they actually give them a piece of paper, a printout of what you're seeing here, and the rep has to go in and just write on the fill in the blanks, basically. You can do the same exact thing here. So I can type in 5 or whatever the measurement is, or maybe that's the measurement here for the angle, right? And I can do all of that. I can either do words. It doesn't matter what it is that you're gonna put in there. I'll just put it right here. That can be the same thing for roofing. That can be the same thing for pretty much anything that you guys may have already a standard template for, right? I can also do things like adding photos to it. So if I go into, say, my window section here, and I go to my photo selection, actually, let me go back to my roofing here. I'm gonna go back here. I want to erase this, clear all, and I'm gonna take away my grids. Now I'm gonna take a picture, right? I'm gonna take a picture of that. Let's say that's the window. I can enlarge that window, and now I can draw on top of it. So I can circle things, arrows, and then I can combine that with text. Text that your production person, admin person can actually understand, right? Eliminates communication errors across the entire process. So back to my original point, right? When you're trying to fix issues at the production level, where the root of that problem is the initial visit, the initial collection of data. So we solve for that without interrupting the sales process. Guys, this is not interrupting the sales process. Your reps are already doing this in some sort of way, right? Now you're just capturing data that is understandable, that is accurate, and that can seamlessly travel throughout your entire process so that when it gets to production, you don't have to do the same thing twice, because that's what's happening now. That's the definition of efficiency, right? Being able to find the best way to do something without having to revisit it 1,000 times with very minimal checks and balances or zero checks and balances. And now you have that. And now let's go ahead and just like last one here. We have an integration with ProVia. This changed the way that we actually sold doors. When I was selling home improvements, I was still working out of that brown catalog. For those guys that have been there on this call and are familiar with how to sell ProVia doors back in the early, it was like 2006 or so. There was like a brown book. It was like this wide, and to put our price together was a nightmare. I don't know what logic that catalog followed, but it was, you got to pick something here, and then you got to go to page 80 to pick something else, and then you pick 120 to pick something else, and somehow, some way, you will do that, and you will still get it wrong, right? And then you'll have a contract, and because there was so much detail, you wouldn't be able just to describe everything because you'll sit there forever, right? But then you needed to close the deal in the first visit. So it was kind of okay, so how am I going to accomplish this? So most of us walked away from door leads. So ProVia has a beautiful door builder. It's EnterLink that you'll go in and it'll basically build the whole thing out. But they drop the ball with the contract. They don't give you a contract. You can order. It's meant to be for showing purposes, for demo purposes, and ordering purposes, not for selling purposes. So if someone buys a door from me, even if I had that beautiful thing that built out my entire door and my customer can see what they actually purchased, there's nothing for me to leave behind. I will have to turn that into a PDF or take a picture of that, email it to the customer, separate from my contract, because my contract was something else, a hard copy or whatever. So we connect it with their system so that when we sell a door, I can simply press a couple of buttons and it automatically feeds that into my contract along with my windows and my roofing and my sunroom, whatever else I'm selling. So I have an EnterLink here, and I'll do this quickly. And this thing will communicate in real time with ProVia, and it'll feed my entire order right into my contract. So what you're gonna find is that now I not only have the description of the entire order, with the interlink, with the quantity, and the picture. Not only I'm solving issues at the production level, every production person that may be listening to this knows that ordering a door is a nightmare. There's a ton of back and forth with the customer because you never have complete data to begin with. Most importantly, the customer not knows what they're buying. I just spent 10 grand on this door. I have no idea what it looks like. I'll forget a week later. Now I can go to my contract and take a look at it and say, oh, that's awesome. Let's go buy some shutters, or let's start looking at the plans or whatever. And just, it's a fun process. It's meant to be fun. And your production person is pretty much their job is done. The entire description here. All you gotta do is just plug the same interlink number into your ProVia interlink system, order that door, it's done. And I'm gonna hit next. Actually, I'm gonna add one photo here, and I'm just gonna show you what a typical contract looks like. I already show you a proposal. What a contract looks like. You know what clean contracts should look like. If I'm a customer and I get this as a contract, I feel confident with what I bought. Not to mention that if there's any questions, the answer is right in front of me. I know exactly what it is. I can understand it. I don't have to try to navigate through the entire paper there to figure out what it was written. Any unforeseen cost, pictures. If I ever try to attempt to cancel this contract because I feel like I don't need it, I can just take a look at that picture and say, you know what, maybe I should rethink this. I just bought a bathroom. I have absolutely everything there. And then I have all my diagrams, all my windows. And I know we're actually kind of close here, Liz, so I apologize, but I think this is pretty big, guys. This is a 21-page contract, pretty large deal, about 33,000 bucks. And I wrote that up in seconds with such a level of detail. That will generate repeat business, I promise you that. All right.
Very cool.
We
do have a few questions rolling in. Let me go ahead and let's back on up. Very cool. Well, thank you, Farith. Lots of great information there. So shifting into this Q&A as we have a few more minutes, give you a moment, submit any questions in the questions box located in your GoToWebinar menu. And with that, it's time to announce the winner of the $50 Amazon gift card. Today's winner is, drumroll please, Ron Doris from Ron Doris Electric and Solar. Congratulations. We'll be following up with you via email after the presentation, so keep an eye out to claim your prize. And going ahead and diving into our first question, let's see here. Somebody wants to know, will the process for building proposals change with LEAP 2.0? So that is probably one of our customers. I'll go ahead and take this one, Farith, if you like. So yes, LEAP 2.0 will be released at the end of April. The process for building out proposals really will not change. The look and feel will be a lot fresher and a little bit more intuitive, but what you've already learned how to do will translate. Let's take our next question. Can I take a picture and immediately add it to my document?
Yes. So the answer is yes. All the pictures that I added to my documents, even the cover page, were taken from my camera roll within the iPad. So as long as you take a picture with the iPad, you're good. You're good to go. Or if you're working out of your iPhone, you take the picture with your iPhone and you bring the picture right into the document.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, and Mike would like to know, or he wrote in, I am not good at designing. Will LEAP help me build nice looking proposals?
We have templates for you. We can definitely help you with that. We're not a designing company, so don't expect like a great designing, but we do have partners that can help you with that if that's something you're interested in having a conversation about. Or templates are pretty much what you saw today.
Alrighty. Next question is, can I add my logo to each page of the proposal without adding it page by page?
Yes. Your logo will pull from the master logo within your Leap account, so you can have that plug into anywhere. Not only just the top section, can be throughout the entire document if you want to. and it's all automated.
Very cool. Last question we got here, very similar, but maybe if we have a little bit more information on templates, Farith. Tyler would like to know, do you have proposal templates that we could look at and choose from?
We have proposal structures, and I want to change that term from template because I don't want you to think that we have something that is fully designed that you just change your colors and then boom, it happens. But the breakup of them, like intro, and then the how the product is shown, if it's itemized or put together, we do have those type of templates.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. Thank you, Farith, for sharing your time with us today. And thank you to everyone watching at home or from the office. We're glad you could join us. If you would like more information about LEAP, let us know on the poll you are about to see on your screen now. We will be emailing out today's recording to you first thing tomorrow morning. So please feel free to share with colleagues or peruse again for a review of this information. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.